Hi, I'm Peter. This is my submission for the Persuasive Speech for Communication 101 for UWSP Spring Semester 2020. Okay, so in order to refresh your memory on the speech that I did earlier this semester, I'm going to share the definition of a refugee provided by the Cambridge Academic Content Dictionary. Quote, a person who has escaped from their own country for political, religious, or economic reasons, or because of war. So I believe I am the correct person to persuade you to take the stigma off of refugees being, for example, spies for other countries in the US. Because of my liberalistic political views and my countless hours of research on this topic. Many people definitely don't agree that refugees shouldn't be coming into this country, so I'm here to tell you that otherwise. Okay, so the blatant problem here is that not a lot of people trust the refugees that come into America. I'll show you an example of one of the people that share this point of view. In Trump Asylum Rule Pro and Con posted by Congressional Digest in November 2019, Congressional Digest quotes Solicitor General Noel Francisco, quote, the U.S. has experienced an unprecedented surge of the number of aliens who enter the country unlawfully across the southern border and, if apprehended, claim asylum and remain in the country, while their claims are adjudicated with little prospect of obtaining that discretionary relief, end quote. So obviously, Francisco isn't in favor of refugees taking asylum in the United States. One of the ways to deal with one of these people and change their point of view of refugees taking asylum in the United States is to give them some type of patriotical reinforcement through America taking an example of a beacon of hope for other countries. So as I've said before, making America an example of a beacon of hope by taking refugees in would be a nice solution to bring to people like Francisco. This person enhances this feeling of patriotism. Senator Cory Booker and Democrat of New Jersey states in Lee, Lafgren, Harris, and Booker lead. Bicameral Refugee Protection Act of 2019. A news post made by the Targeted News Service posted on Washington Post in November of 2019 states, located at the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty is a plaque that proudly states, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. For decades, the U.S. has tried to live up to these words, admitting refugees from all over the world fleeing violence and terror in their home countries. Unfortunately, while the world is experiencing one of the worst refugee crises in history, the Trump administration has turned its back on people fleeing horrible violence and atrocities. The Refugee Protection Act would reinvigorate our commitment to those solemn words and reestablish America's place as a beacon of hope for the rest of the world. So, one other example of how to deal with people like Francisco would be bringing up a reductio ad absurdum. A reductio ad absurdum, a Latin term that translates to reduction to absurdity, and term often is used in philosophy that the philosophy department of the University of Maryland defines as a good way to argue for a claim is to temporarily hypothesize the negation of this claim and then show that this hypothesis generates an absurdity. So essentially what this means is, for example, I believe that we should take more refugees in asylum in the United States. I would then bring up something like, what if this world didn't have the United States bringing in refugees for asylum? Then I would say that would be an absurdity in philosophical terms. An absurdity in terms of philosophy is defined as realizing that there is a distinct lack of meaning in things that we do and struggle to find meaning where none exists, as stated by John Dodderwike in an argument for the absurd. Okay, to bring the light of how this affects you and your community, I'm going to take a piece from the Refugee Act of 2019. Under Section 2 findings of the Refugee Protection Act of 2019, it states that the United States Refugee Admissions Program is a life-saving solution that is critical to global humanitarian efforts, strengthens global security, provides economic and cultural benefits to cities, states, and the U.S. as a whole. So, without the Refugee Protection Act, this would limit international integration for like economies and stuff. So this would limit how many things you buy. It would hurt your income. This would obviously bring down global humanitarian efforts. And this would also weaken global security, which would put your life in danger. In conclusion, I hope all of you take action in voting for those who support refugee protection, and also implement the ideas of promoting the United States to be a beacon of hope for all U.S. refugees that will take asylum in the United States, and also implement the idea of reductio ad absurdum. I hope that you taken your time to think about refugee protection throughout my speech, and